Good afternoon. Friday, January 26, 2024, here in Sarasota, Florida. Short video. The title is going to be No Politician is Unifying. No politician, I don't care what side of the fence you are on, there is no such thing as a politician that is unifying. Why? Because the system within which they exist does not allow it. This is a system built on keeping us separated, keeping us divided, divisive, keeping us fighting, keeping us angry, and quite frankly, keeping us in a damaging pattern. And as long as we continue to feed that pattern and believe that we don't have the power to come together to co-create something new, nothing is going to change in this country. Nothing. I will once again quote one of my favorite quotations of all time, Albert Einstein. You cannot solve problems from the same level of consciousness that created them. You must see the world anew. I have been pursuing a personal vision, yes, for many years, 11 plus years to be exact, a vision of trying to work to be the change for something new. It's extremely out of the box, I know, to consider the fact that we really can come together to exist in a way outside of all of these current systems. In the upcoming days, weeks, and months, I'm going to be more courageously trying to give voice to this vision because it's more than just words. I do have one particular idea that it's already represented, halfway hashed out on its own website, ripple2020.world. It's not rocket science. It's not even overly creative. That particular idea would be the stepping stone to demonstrate how differently we can come together to do things. Suffice to say, for right now, this entire year, it's not going to be a unifying year. There's no way in hell any aspect of pursuing anything political. And I'm not political. I haven't voted. I voted one time in my life in the 2000 election. Never again will I vote. Never again did I vote. I don't feed the system. I do everything in my power to direct my energy to being the change. Because, folks, our attention is perhaps even more valuable than our dollars right now. To what you give your attention, you are feeding. And I would just love to begin to be a tiny little voice that encourages you. Turn off the televisions. Stop feeding the ugliness. Stop feeding something that clearly has shown us it does not result in any sort of lasting change. Try to see yourself beyond a blue or a red person because they're two sides of the same coin. If you go down the rabbit hole of anything, you will find the same players. I promise you that. I don't need to spend any more time of my life, which is why I haven't been feeding it for a very long time. I gave up my TV in 2008. I'll never again own a TV. I started my deprogramming all of those years ago, which is why in the past few years, I believe I could see so clearly the incredibly frightening and damaging changes going on right now and how they're utilizing still our divisiveness with our identities tied to these political parties. I just encourage you, try it on for a season. Try it on. Try not identifying as blue and red. Try to consider for 1 second that system is sucking away so many resources. So much of our positivity gets twisted and transmuted, and we end up fighting over each year. They add different things to divide us. It's astounding, and it's never going to end because it won't end until we say enough is enough. I don't even predict that this year's election is going to happen. They're not going to let it happen. It's not going to happen. If you don't have your eyes open to how twisted things have become, then I guess, I can't help you. If you want to stay blinded to it, believe me, I understand why. It's not pretty to contemplate that everything you've been told is pretty much a lie. At best, it's a partial truth. But more likely than not, it's been outward lies from both sides. And I'm not saying that there aren't a handful of good people that are politicians, but there was a reason that our founding fathers, there was a reason they never intended for politics to be a full-time career, because it's not that it took a tremendous visionary, but they could see the inherent conflict of interest. And in this day and age where greed and power and money, all of that, what people wouldn't do for a dollar. There's also a tremendous amount of blackmail going on in the highest levels of our institutions. The evidence is right in front of our faces. And all I'm saying is, unless you're a globalist billionaire, we're on the same team. It really behooves us to get out of this twisted game of red and blue and to try to get creative and imagine that we can do so much better. And stay tuned, because I am finally going to come out of my shell this year. Not even this year, in the upcoming month. February, I'm planning to release a number of videos where I'm not going to try to just be a voice to this, but like I said, I have ideas. They're not tremendously creative yet because we've got a baby step out of what's been known to us. But it does begin with believing that it's possible for us to get to the goodness that defines the majority of us, and have that goodness come together to create new and better, more efficient, more effective ways to care for one another, to care for our society, to care for our planet and all the species that share this planet with us. And the old ways, it's not going to happen that way. You cannot solve it from the same level that's creating it. No politician is unifying. They can't be. They have to toe the respective party lines. It's ridiculous. It's right in front of our faces. And I'm just one little tiny voice that's trying to encourage us all. Turn off your TV, shut off the propaganda, let your own direct experiences be your news. Let that be what defines you, your experiences, what you directly experience out in your world and all the various communities to which you are a part. We can do better. We can do so much better. But you first have to believe that we can do better. And we have to make the choice. It's on us to stop feeding this, first and foremost, with our attention. And this is the year that I'm going to come out of my shell to be maybe, yet another voice out there, but I'm a voice out there that I don't need to dissect and understand the corruption of the current world. I don't want to give it any of my attention. My attention is on being the change. And I swear to you, it's not going to take a whole hell of a lot. But the first step has to be stop putting your attention on this side to what's always been and what only continues to divide us and make us angry, and start getting your imagination going, being creative, and recognizing that what you give attention to, you are feeding, you are contributing. So if you're paying attention to the fighting and the arguing, pay attention to how it makes you feel. Do you ever feel uplifted by it? Seriously, uplifted, truly inspired. Shut it off. Pay attention to the voices that make you feel good. Pay attention to voices that don't have some sort of horse in the race. Because if you follow the money, you'll see where the incentives lie. And that system is bought and paid for. And it's not bought and paid for by us common American folk. So it's time to play a different game. It's time. It's time. And we get to say enough is enough.